Hi, my name is Billy Kane and I'm the Vice President of A Plus Roofing. And today I'd like to share with you one of a three-part series on how to identify a good roofing contractor. So for today in part one, I would just like to focus on how to identify a reliable and a trustworthy roofing company. And the first thing I would look at, before I looked at anything else, would be to make sure that the roofing company is licensed. There's three different types of license in Virginia. There's Class A, which is the most difficult to get. That requires you to pass a rigorous state board exam, to have a certain number of assets, credit rating, so on and so forth. It's pretty difficult. Then you have Class B and Class C, Class C being surprisingly easy to obtain. So all things even, I would want a roofing contractor that had a Class A license as opposed to a Class B or a Class C. And I think this is especially important in roofing because according to, and this is a surprising statistic, according to the largest roofing manufacturer in North America, half, that's right, 50% or more of roofers will be out of business within 3 years. I thought that was a startling statistic. Couple that with the fact that contractors often don't have the greatest reputation, it makes it all the more important to make sure that the company is licensed and insured, which I'll talk about in a minute, but also has that Class A contractor's license, because it's not so easy to just come in and get out, which it's very easy to do in roofing. All it takes is a Class C license and a few tools. The second thing I would look for, and this is very important, that is insurance. I would make sure that the roofing company has both general liability insurance, which covers like damage to your property, and then also workers' compensation, which would cover an injury, Lord forbid, that could happen while your roof is getting replaced. Roofing is a dangerous job. In fact, I've heard it's one of the most dangerous jobs in the United States. So correspondingly, insurance is very expensive. So you want to make sure that your roofing contractor is fully insured. And by the way, this is a good point to pause on. You want to make sure that you don't just hear that they have a roofing license and insurance, but for me personally, I would like to see it. I would like to just ask the roofing estimator or salesman, hey, can I see your license? And then when I see it, I'm looking at it to see, okay, let me see what classification it is. I'd like to see Class A. Let me see the date to make sure it's valid. I want to see that it's still within its time frame. I'd like to see the classification, which in Virginia is designated by the letters ROC to make sure they're certified in roofing. And then for the insurance, I want to see both general liability and workers' comp. I want to see the date to make sure that it's valid and still in a coverage period. And then the amount to make sure that coverage amounts are sufficient. I would expect to see at least $1 million of coverage for general liability and $500,000 or more on workers' comp, by the way. And then lastly, the last overarching thing I'd like to see when trying to find just a good company to work with, notwithstanding products and process, is I would want to see good reviews. And there's a lot of places you can look for reviews. You can look for reviews on Google, the Better Business Bureau, Angie's List, Home Advisor, Facebook, shingle supply houses, so on and so forth. But in my opinion, Google is king. And when I'm looking at reviews on Google, there's two things I'm looking at. The first thing I'm looking at is the overall rating, 5 being the highest that's possible. So the closer to 5 the rating is, the better. And then I'm also looking at the number of reviews. If I see 2 or 3 reviews, I might be concerned that maybe this is the guy's mother or cousin or uncle that left the review. But if I see 100 or more reviews, then I'm probably gonna have some pretty good confidence that the company is gonna do a good job, and especially when those 100 reviews are consistently high. The last thing I would look for, me personally, is just a personality fit. Is the guy or lady that's coming out to give me this estimate, do I like them? Is it somebody that I want to work with through this process of the roof replacement? Or is it somebody that I feel like is pushy or high pressure or maybe more in it for the money as opposed to making sure that I'm happy and get everything I want? I hope you've enjoyed part 1 of this 3-part series, and I hope to see you in part 2, which reviews the process that the company would take to replace your roof, and then part 3, products that would be used and how they're installed. Thanks.